What's up, you guys? We absolutely crushed it over here in the Bahamas. Stay tuned for this sick adventure and spearfishing. You!
Would you stay with me tonight? If I said what's on my mind, would that make you run and hide? Run and hide. Run and hide. If I said what's on my mind, would that make you run and hide? Would that make you run and hide? Run and hide. Run and hide. Oh, would that make you run and hide?
What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Captain Jack. Welcome back to the channel. We are over in the Bahamas doing a 2-day, 1-night camping trip with my boys. We got Nick Bailey on the boat. He has a channel. And then we're also got Spencer, aka Spurgy, and my cousin David. So we're diving for, gonna get after it. Also, I would like to let you guys know this episode is sponsored by Red Rum International. Go check them out. They're a high quality apparel company. They were with me since the beginning. They have really cool designs, so go ahead and check them out, and don't forget to use my discount code in the description below for some money off that order. But I will see you guys down below. I can see bottom. So we start off diving in about the 50 to 60 range depth. The viz is okay, and we have a decent amount of chum with us on this trip. So we go ahead and drop some chum, and a super big cubera comes in. I mean, this is like probably a 50 pounder maybe, and he's eating the chum, so he seems like he might be a little chum drunk. But either way, I'm gonna go straight down to the bottom, whether he stays there or moves away, and hopefully he comes in for a shot. And that kind of is exactly what happens. You can see these little sardines floating down, and the cubera kind of went off. I'm hoping he will come back, but the only way to find out is to go down there, hold my position, and kind of lay flat with the bottom. And I found out these cubera are really territorial, and they're also curious. So if you go down, kind of hide your body a little bit, kind of go flat to the bottom, get behind some structure, there's a chance they could come in, and that's what this one does. But he's kind of one of the older ones on the reefs. He's a little bit smarter, and they really know the range of a pole spear because they stay just out of range. So you can kind of see him in the distance right there. He was off maybe about 30 feet. I start scratching, and he starts working his way in. I'm trying to lay flat. You'll look at the top of the GoPro. I try not to look up actually at the fish, otherwise they seem a little threatened. You can see his bottom fins. He comes in. He's almost close enough. And I'm kind of getting a little desperate to breathe right then. But he ends up veering off and leaving. And he's just one of those smart fish that I'm not going to be able to get a shot on. Kind of unfortunate, but it was a good attempt on this fish. Now shortly after, Nick goes down and gets this nice tiger grouper. So it's the first fish in the box for some ceviche. And you don't want to get these too big. This is a perfect size. It won't have a chance of having any ciguatera. So we head to a big coral head. I shoot a lionfish, and there goes a Nassau. And that will add another addition to the ceviche bowl. So now I go ahead and jump in the water, and I'm using the Hawaiian Sling. And I actually like mixing up using pole spear, Hawaiian Sling. Depending on the depth, I really love the range of the Hawaiian Sling. And the difference is, one is like a slingshot, you shoot a free shaft, and then the other one is you're tethered to a pole spear. And when I shoot lionfish with the Hawaiian Sling, I love it because they're very easy to get off, and I just enjoy shooting the Hawaiian Sling. I'm also really good at using the Hawaiian Sling. I grew up using it, and if you want to challenge yourself, become a good diver, I highly suggest trying it. It's a cheap setup, usually less than $100. Here comes a Nassau. We need some more food for the ceviche bowl. And you saw whenever I drew back, I didn't draw back facing the fish. I kind of drew back to the side. Didn't really want to spook the grouper. Landed a nice shot, and another fish added into the bowl. And one thing with those Hawaiian Slings, if you do shoot a fish, you want to grab a hold of the fish rather than really grabbing the spear. You saw me with that Nassau. I grabbed the end of the spear, and I was trying to push it all the way through so the barb went through. And you'll see that on this fish. It's a hogfish, and man, he is booking it. I chase after him, which I kind of can on these hogfish. I draw back, and I lead him, and I landed a good shot. And that spear just weighs him down. And this is a good size hogfish too, so pretty excited about it. But as you can see, I literally went straight for the fish on that shot. The spear was definitely in all the way through. There was no chance of him coming off, and I grabbed the fish, and that's one thing you have to do. So now I see a nice mutton coming in to all the commotion. I pointed him off to David, trying to be a good dive buddy, and instantly the first thing that came to my mind is that mutton is there for some kind of food. So I go ahead and brain this hogfish, and I actually decide to gut him. I don't need to bleed him because these things don't really have much of a bloodline, and you saw him like kind of shake. That means lights went out. He died a humane death. It was pretty quick, and you see me gutting him, and you see that the mutton in the background. So I go ahead and reach in there. I grab any guts or anything that the hogfish have, and I'm actually doing this to save ice in the coolers. One thing, when you throw a fish in the cooler, it's kind of hot, and especially the gut cavity, it retains a lot of heat, and also it kind of makes the cooler smell bad. So I always love gutting fish before I put them in the cooler. And you see David kind of trying to work that mutton, and he takes a long shot and just barely clips his tail about right here. Ooh, so close, but it was a good try, good attempt on a fish. Bro, so we were just getting back to where we were camping for the night, and I mean, this is incredible. Look at the viz. Look at that shark stingray cruising around. This is amazing. I've never seen the water this clear. It's so nice. I'm excited. We already got the conch clean. Everything's all good to go. Oh, there he goes. Look at him. Just crystal clear. So I'm about to shower, but today wasn't super productive. We didn't crush it, but tomorrow we're gonna do something a little bit different. So I'm gonna explain to you in the morning. Thanks for joining me on this adventure. Not crazy diving experiences, but still, nonetheless, we're getting food, we're having a good time, and that's all about it. I mean, just going out and venturing, experiencing new things. So pretty stoked about this, but we will see you guys a little later when we're cooking up some fish and some conch. So we ended up just having a serene night and morning. I didn't really have any interest in bringing out the GoPro, but you could kind of see our little camp that we had set up, and we wanted to get after it for the day of spearfishing. So we headed back to the area where we started the day before. We started chumming in this deeper reefy area, and it's actually really good mutton territory. So you can see Spencer made a drop right there, and a school of like 6 muttons came in, but also some nice sized reef sharks also came in. So Spencer made a drop on those muttons, ended up not showing them any interest, but they are hanging around after this chum. I see one off in the distance, kind of starting to nibble on some chum. I start descending, and now when I'm descending, get to a point where I'm neutral, and I just hang out there. You can see how still I am. I'm just sitting there quietly, not really trying to move my head too much, just enough to kind of see the fish. You see those muttons down in the bottom left. You can see a shark coming into the right, and I'm like around 30 feet at this point, and it's probably maybe another 20 to get to the bottom. I'm just waiting. There goes the shark. Here comes a mutton. I kind of have an idea that that's a good sized mutton. That's the one I'm going to take. I line up, and I put that spear right in his cheek plate, and now I'm absolutely horsing him up, because I know the sharks are going to come in after him, and there he does. He comes in hot. He tries to go after the fish. I kick him out of the way. He keeps coming after it, and luckily, I'm just hoping my dive buddy Spencer, there he is. He saw that I was kind of struggling, and he came down to give me some backup. Pretty epic dive. I talk about it when I get in the boat.
Yeah, boy. Good.
Now, of course, like all other fish, I go ahead and chum this one, hoping to bring in some more muttons. Dude, so that was crazy. There were like 6 of them that came in. Look at that cheek shot right through the meat plate, right out the gills. That was so sick. I had to kick that shark like a couple times, like in the face. He was coming in hot, dude, but good thing Spencer was there.
Defense.
Buddy diving, dude. David, what the hell is David doing?
Defense.
But yeah, that was sick. That was gnarly. There were ones bigger than this, so we're gonna reset and try to get another one. Woo! Pumped. Good fish. Woo! So now we go down to the same area where we just were. We made another drift. I didn't see the muttons on this drift, but there was a nice schoolmaster that David made an approach on. Took it nice and slow and landed the shot. And we were around there for backup because we knew the sharks weren't far by. I went ahead and grabbed my throw flasher. I threw it earlier. Wanted to make sure it didn't get down into the reef. And sure enough, here comes the sharks. They sense the commotion and they start, heading in. And they're not really after blood. They're after distress and commotion in the water, and that's what happened. You can see he's kind of sensing my fins as like movement, and he starts coming up. We have to give him the little poke just so they know that we're not a meal. Now David made a sick shot on this fish, right through the gills and out the mouth, and this thing just starts munching on the slip tip. All right, you guys, so we are heading to an area that is kind of secretive. Don't know how much video I'm gonna be able to get in the water, but I will at least show you a little bit. Hopefully you can see something. I'll see you guys in the water, hopefully. So right off the back, Nick landed this stud cubera. We were so stoked. It was the biggest fish of the trip, epic fish. Yeah. So basically the place we're diving is a area where there's these slabs of concrete in some deep water, and we ended up drifting off of this stuff, and now we're in some of the shallower stuff. It's about 60, 70, and I follow this cubera down, and you get to see what happens. So now I honestly think he dodged the pole spear. I did get a scale. You can see it on the tip of my pole spear, but he ended up just moving just quick enough to avoid the spear. And now I'll slow it down, and you guys actually see him turn his body sideways to avoid the shot. Totally insane. I slowed that down and I was like, that son of a gun is so freaking smart. Now we went back to the deeper stuff, and a nice mutton came in, and I landed this guy. Spencer comes in, shoots a cubera. I put the backup shot because the shot wasn't perfect, and it's always a good idea to do that just to make sure you get the fish. So now this next drop is insane. I start cruising along that piling, following a hogfish, and a gigantic black grouper pops out. I kind of veer to him, but now I'm at about 103 feet. I end up plugging that stud of a hogfish and bringing him home. And also a huge dog snapper came in, and I took a nice shot, and this is at 102 feet. That's how deep I was, and these slabs are just literally in the middle of nowhere, and there's fish on them. Sharks kind of coming in hot on this guy. Now this was a monster dog snapper and probably my personal best, and you see the pole spear, the injector rod busted on this guy. So now I go ahead and switch over to my Hawaiian Sling. And now I'm at 102 feet, and I plug this guy right through the cheek. All right, you guys, we're making our way back. See you at the dock. You guys, we were getting after it, getting everything done, filleted everything up from what's left. We got Nick's stuff. I'm gonna make some fish head soup out of that. Yeah, good. Oh, also David's gonna do the jaws on the big dog snapper. Pretty epic trip, so stoked. But if you guys enjoyed this episode, go ahead and give it that thumbs up. If you're new, consider subscribing. And like always, guys, I'll see you next week for another adventure. Later.